Good evening and welcome back, Diablo fans. It's time for another episode of Westmarch Workshop. We've got, as always, another packed episode for all of you. So tonight, I would probably say that tonight should probably be dedicated to our community because holy cow, we have a ton to talk about because of everybody's feedback that we received over this past week. We've got like emails, tweets, probably text messages somewhere. I don't know. But before we get started, I should probably introduce myself. I am your co-host, Lieutenant Lunatic, and I would say, as requested by our good friend Longshot, I am going to start the show off with an hour-long lore segment. So if everyone could just like sit down in your seats, get comfortable, maybe pour a glass of warm milk.
It's taken 66 episodes, but I think I'm about to go through and stop an introduction right now.
Come on, man. Hour long. We have a whole other hour than after that to talk about whatever we want. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, that lovely voice that you guys heard tonight, or just now, is our other co-host, Mr. Neinball. How's it going, man?
Hi. How you doing?
I'm not really going to do an hour-long lore segment.
Thank goodness. Even the guest host is like, oh, God.
Oh, jeez. I haven't introduced her yet. Oh, man. Okay, well, speaking of which...
All praise High Seraph Tyrael. That's all I have to say.
Speaking of which, tonight, we are also joined by our... can I say monk professional? Our monk know-it-all. Can I say that?
I wouldn't say that.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to. We are...
I think you're setting the expectations too high now.
Yeah, that's okay. You can... I feel like even if you don't know what you're talking about, you would do a good job of making it sound like you do. Not saying that... I'm not
saying I'm a great BSer?
Maybe. I don't know if you are. You could have BS'd me and I not even known it, but... I don't know. But yes, tonight we are joined by our guest, Lala. Lala, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Doing all right.
Some people might remember her from, what was that? That was her season 1? Season 2?
Season 2.
Season 2 all-nighter that Leviathan and I did. Lala was there streaming with us, having fun, chit-chatting, bullshitting. Who was it 3 days? Thibbledorf, yes. That
before he became traitor and went back to softcore.
Yes. Evil person.
We still love you.
Still love you. No offense to softcore players. Sorry if I offended anybody with the comments that I just said. Sorry, not.
So Lala, tell us a little bit about yourself. I guess it's not really in the show notes, is it?
No, but, it's not in the show notes. I have
surprise.
Whose fault is that?
Yeah. So you play Diablo, obviously.
I play Diablo. I play some World of Warcraft.
You play World of Warcraft.
Play lots of other games. Mass Effect being one of my favorites. The whole trilogy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love it. It's my favorite.
I haven't finished the last one yet.
No, the finishing isn't the important part. It's a journey.
I know, I need to play more of it.
Is this a seasons joke?
It's actually more of a hardcore joke, but you can roll it into the seasonal journey.
Mm-hmm.
Seasonal journey? Yeah, I like that. So, but yeah, we've all been...
And no, I called Thibbledorf a traitor because he was hardcore and he went to softcore.
So we all do play other games, but this week we've all been playing a lot of Diablo. Am I correct to say this?
Mm-hmm.
I think someone here didn't play that much.
Some more than others. Hey, I played a lot. I didn't play as
on a lot.
Hey, I got quite a. I feel like I got quite a bit in. For as little as I was able to devote to the game this week, I feel like I got a lot. I made a good bang for my buck. Is that the right phrase to say there? I don't know.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Well, okay. Well, I'll start my week in gaming then. How about that?
By all means, if you want to go ahead of the guest host, that's fine.
Wait, do we usually start guest host?
Do we have a format?
I don't know.
I can't tell.
You just put me out, and so I feel like
it has me at the end.
Well, that's just how the show notes are formatted.
Well, see, I felt like it was a good segue into the week in gaming, and then you just blew it. I blew last week's.
Fine,
so
fine, G. Just go. I don't care. I'm not here. Don't listen to me. Whatever.
All right, so my goal this weekend, because we had a long weekend. I was like, all right, I'm gonna play a ton of Diablo. Like, I have my to-do list, like I always do, but yeah. So I got to the end of the weekend, and man, I feel like I never actually got to sit down this weekend. I had like so much random stuff to do. So Friday night, actually, to kind of start off the weekend, Friday night I actually got to hang out with a listener of the show, a fellow Diablo player, Ace Fisher. So that was really fun. He's actually the host of his own podcast called Box Press Radio. So if you guys are into like cigars and I know they talk about gaming as well. I believe they talk about like whiskey and things like that as well. It's just about a lot of like, not to be sexist, but a lot of guy stuff. Not saying that, Lala, you wouldn't like it, right? but that's like, so that's kind of, yeah, so. Okay. I feel like I just put my foot in my mouth. But anyway, so so he hosts his own show, and so he basically invited me to a local cigar shop / wine shop / I don't know. So he got me into like this members only area, and we just hung out and like talked about the game, talked with other people that were in there, and just hung out. It was actually really fun. So I think it was the first time I've really hung out with a fan of the show outside of online, I guess. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. So that started out my weekend. I got to play. I played a little bit every day. I didn't get as much done as I would have liked to. My gear still isn't where I would like it to be. I improved it a little bit tonight, but we're running about T7, T8 with groups regularly, and so yeah, things are going well. I've still got the bug, so it's not that I don't have the desire to play. That's for sure, because I feel like I'm texting Neinball and Leviathan every day something about like I just want to play or something like that. So
and the response is always, why don't you just quit the job right now? Just go do it now.
Do it. Yeah, but yeah, I've been doing a lot of housework, and so we're getting our house around. My wife has the decorating bug, so I spent my weekend building shelves, and I am gearing up for hunting season, so I spent a lot of my weekend doing that too. But yeah, so that's basically my week in gaming / weekend in gaming. Let's go with our guest. Lala, how was your week in gaming? Yours was very eventful. Spoiler alert.
It gets very eventful when you play a lot. I've been grouping up with Leviathan a lot using my monk. We got the Roads Apart conquest last Wednesday, I believe. So that was exciting. It was our second attempt at it because kind of got a little careless the first time, and then Leviathan died. So we could have been in the top 10, but we weren't because death kind of slows you down. So yeah, I think we were 11th and 12th on that. We both reached Paragon 700, which, put this in perspective, my non-season Paragon is 671. I never saw the 600 before because I went from 596 to 671 from the rollover.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. I got to see 600 and 700.
There you go.
So for listeners who don't play as much as you do, what is the Worlds Apart conquest? Just fill everybody.
Oh, that's to kill all of the bosses with the exception of Iskatu, because he's not in adventure mode, within 20 minutes of starting a game.
Yeah, I think it's 20 or 30 minutes. It's one of those.
One of those. We did it.
Mm-hmm. Who
How
cares?
long,
We did
how long
it.
did it
Fine.
take you guys? How long did it
What was
take you
it?
guys?
I think we beat it with like 3 minutes to spare,
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
which
Very
Nice.
nice.
wasn't bad for the first time actually get into bosses without dying. Um,
that helps ever so slightly.
and then, well, after that we kind of just farmed more greater rifts, like 50 farming for XP. Then
Good.
we got some. For most of the time, it was just me and Leviathan, but we started playing with other people, including Dazed, Felipe, Neinball, Dead Advocate.
Hey, that Neinball. That's me.
Oh, they were actually confused in chat who you were, so I didn't want
I know.
to
I
point
saw.
to you
Who's
or
this guy?
anything.
I didn't introduce you, but I did.
You did, but it
I-
kind of was in the introduction, and people apparently weren't listening to you.
That's true. They were probably still trying to get over the fact that I might have been doing lore.
So we had gotten the Lionhearted the first weekend,
Mm-hmm.
but we now have 3-player level Griff level 60 and 4-player Griff level 60.
Mm-hmm.
The 3-player was a lot of fun because I believe it was Dazed with us,
Yeah, I think
and
that's.
that he 56 or 7 had a lot of fun with the lag.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Good old
it's
health
not
boost.
it's not too bad if you kill all the enemies very quickly, but you get a choke point where Leviathan can't reach the enemies and help kill them down. All the enemies just getting lots of dots, lag out, come back, 5 bazillion arcane. Not the best feeling in the world,
Mm-mm.
but living through it is good.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
What doesn't kill you?
Makes you stronger.
Something like that.
Does it
Yep.
make you stronger if you can't remember it?
Unless you lose your legendary gems, then it doesn't make you stronger. So
Just gives you PTSD whenever you see an arcade beam.
nice. So that sounds like a pretty eventful week.
Yeah,
Do you,
we tried also going for the 2-minute conquest. We couldn't quite get it. We did get the seasonal journey 3-minute though for T10 rifts.
Okay.
mm-hmm.
So
I've seen a lot of discussion about that of doing the T10 2-minute one. That you need to start on an outside map with 4 players and go in different directions.
Mm. That would make sense because then, yeah, you're not bottlenecked by paths that have to fit more than one person, and that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to work on that once I get up to where I have enough gear to do that.
I would say once you catch up, but the rate that these two are going, Lala and Leviathan, there's not really any catching up there. That's just maybe seeing their dust a little bit better.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
So,
Is there anything else that you've been doing this past week?
well, I got a computer chair. Look, computer chair. A real one. Better than that dining room chair I had. But and then I got a headset, which I know is ugly and just green, but it was half the price of any other one. Then I get home and I go to get on Diablo, and they were having server issues. There was huge queue times. I finally get in the game. It's an hour before raid time for World of Warcraft. I finally get in the game. I go into a rift and I break my mouse. Left click just snaps off. So I was like, well, that was fun.
Sounds
Guess
like
I have
a
to go
good
back
day.
to the store.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like mouse.
Yeah, I wish I had broken before I'd already gone to the store instead of. It matches my headphones though. It's green.
There you go. Nice.
Because that was the only one they had in stock. Apparently, they really like green.
Apparently. It's like one of those ones where it's like, how can you only have one mouse?
Because I broke my other one because the left click snapped off.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to get that with my mouse here. I noticed while I was going and putting the show together, I had to connect it, disconnect it, and was having some
Yeah, that was my backup last year when I broke my other one. My backup was one that I had to disconnect and reconnect, so I couldn't play multiplayer games last year because I needed the escape menu, the pause screen.
Yep. Oh, mouse disconnected. Pause. There we go. Ah.
So, Mr. Neinball.
Oh, is it my turn?
Lala, do you have? Are you?
No, it's Neinball's turn.
It's
Okay.
Ninerball's turn.
Niner
Ball.
Get your Niner in there. You calling from a walkie-talkie?
But there was one thing that Phoenix went through and wished me. It is September 9th, so it is 9/9. And he wanted to wish 9 a happy 9 day. So I appreciated that one.
What a nice guy.
Yeah, that guy.
That's a thinker.
Mm-hmm. Going above and beyond there, as opposed to the normal stuff that I get. Friggin' he who shall not be named on the show somehow continues to work his way in.
Some
somehow.
Star Wars character that we keep
quiet. No, you're already too close.
It might be getting talked about later today. So tell us about your week in gaming, Senior Neinball.
Yeah, so my week in gaming actually involves a little bit of Lala and Leviathan there, because I did manage to get the Lionheart achievement this weekend. Or actually, what was it? It was Monday, yesterday, last night? No, Monday, not last night. It was which is the clear Greater Rift 60, and you can do it in a group and manage to go and get that done. Some little heart pacing moments there, because as you remember from last episode, I have increased my survivability, but not by that much. And even with the support monk, watching my health go from full to 0, like every time a monster looks at me strange, and thankfully not proccing, it is a little heart wrenching. We did a whole bunch of keys that evening. I want to say that we did like 22 gryphs, because I went from 25 to 3 keys in the course of that evening, gained like 70 Paragon levels, and leveled up a whole bunch of. I like how you rounded it. Yeah, okay. If you want to know, I gained exactly 69 levels, so it was the perfect amount of experience that anybody needs. But we also managed to get a whole bunch of gems leveled up. We went from like 50, and we went from 51 and just did 51, 52, 53 all the way up to 60, and then we dropped it back down, did a whole bunch of 50 runs for some other gyms. It was a good fun evening going, and it's ridiculous the amount of experience you get when you can just like chain run 52, like 50 level 52 gryphs. It was something that we really didn't do that much of in the previous season, because like 50 was like pushing your progression, and now it's just we just farm it. It's like 52, 55. Who cares? Just go do it. It's nothing when you're in a group, especially with a support class as good as Lala's support monk. I should go through and continue to give her props. So it's like myself, my non-seasonal XP is only like 498. I logged out the other night, and I think I am 453 now. So nice. by the weekend, I'm going to surpass my non-seasonal level, and it's just this new the power creep is real.
It's real.
What you can go through and do and accomplish, and that was something that we briefly mentioned last episode, was just you can't even measure anything by like Paragon levels anymore, because it's like Paragon 200, I get that in an hour of hitting 70. It's like really have to go by played time almost nowadays. It's so easy to get gear. The cube is like so much additional power. It's a lot of fun stuff going on. And I guess the other thing with my week in gaming, just wanted to say sorry for those that are watching live, for those that are listening in on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube that did not know that the show started late. The show started late. I was going out to dinner with some friends because we are planning a little trip up to Orlando for next week, and I'm just going to break it all to you now. There will be no episode next week. Sorry. So sorry. Yeah, so there will be no episode on the 16th unless Chris, Lieutenant Lunatic here, decides that he wants to go solo or find a host for next week, maybe?
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
We'll see.
And if you're listening to this like next Tuesday, this is going to be extremely confusing because you're like, oh, are they doing a show or not? I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So guaranteed next episode will be September 23rd.
Yes.
Sorry to
At
be
least.
sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but hey, you could have a 2-hour lore conversation with Lieutenant Lunatic.
Hey, I am
Oh,
pretty
that was
fun.
the 3-hour one.
Yeah, 3-hour one. Do an episode 66.5, lore with Lunatic.
Guys, I could do that all night.
Lunatic's lore lounge. How's that?
Lunatic's Lore Lounge.
Yeah.
Just me. No background music.
Mm-mm.
Just no background in general. It's just
Just
gonna be black.
just you, the listener, and High Seraph Tyrael.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There is a lot that's been happening with High Seraph Tyrael, even in the past week.
I
We could
don't
just
think
talk about
Fauch
it
is going to
forever.
tune in for that.
Could not wait to hear of his adventures. I cannot. I don't even know. I honestly don't know what's been going on. I will be excited to learn about it.
Well,
Really do.
you just have to wait and find out.
Uh-huh. I just cannot wait. I do want to finish up my weekend gaming with going through and giving a little story. This could fit in the community section, but I just like to go and throw it out here now. Last week, it was during the weekend. I was just online. It was late at night. I'd gotten home. It was around like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time, and I was just going and knocking out a couple of T10 rifts, or I think I was actually doing it on like Torment 8 just to try and get it done faster. Because I needed a bunch of rift keys because I had run out and I needed a bunch of gems to level. And I noticed after playing for about an hour, I noticed in the Westmarch Workshop community, not the clan, in the community that there was someone, it was J24 was looking for one more person to just go through and do a Uber's run on, I think it was just Torment 6 or Torment 7, something along those lines. And so I figured, yeah, sure, why not? I'll go through, hop in. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, who cares? So I go through, I hop in, and he's going through, he was pretty well geared, but he did have some friends that were like in the 100s that he was just helping along. That's why they're only doing it on Torment 6. And, so just kind of hop in, it's like, hey, let's go through and do this. And he's like, oh, wow. It's like, you're playing the game with me. It's like, yeah, it was one of those ones after we go through and we kill it and we're just hanging in Tristram and we're chatting for a little bit, and he's just like such a huge fan of the show. He's been listening to it forever, and that he was just like, apparently I made his entire evening just by like hopping in a game and going and killing all the Ubers in like 30 seconds with him. And it's just, it's like that legit like almost made me cry. Just that I could make someone's evening just by going and playing a game of Diablo with them. And it's like, I'm just a guy that plays Diablo and happens to talk about it. And it's like I was just one of those touching moments, and it's just
Except
something.
you look real good doing it.
And it's just, I enjoy, doing the podcast, interacting with fans, and the community segment's legitimately one of my favorite segments of it, because I love going through and interacting with the other listeners, reading your feedback, showing off your items and such. And yeah, you look forward to future episodes, because as long as you all like what it is that we're doing, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, and just to echo with that, like that's honestly the thing that keeps me coming back to this podcast I mean, I get a lot of crap for the whole lore thing. That's fine, but like it's all in good fun, and and I appreciate that everyone's so interactive. And when I was talking about in the intro, like that this episode is basically going to be community run because we have so much community feedback tonight. Man, yeah, it's a pretty awesome feeling just to have so many people excited to talk about the same things that you are talking about. And like you said, we're just people, and we're talking about the same things that you guys are talking about, but we're just doing it with a camera in front of us. So yeah, it's fun. So yep.
Yeah, so with that, shall we get into the news?
Let's do it.
All right. I mean, we don't have, there's not a whole terrible amount of news with which to talk about, because patch 2.3 is still like the new hotness. and there's not been much besides the Q&A, which we covered extensively last week, and some of like the little tidbits that we got at what the future might hold for Diablo. Don't have any like real suspicions or anything like that for BlizzCon just yet. Still, holding out hope for that expansion announcement. Hopefully, knock on wood. But we did have a small set of
Hotfixes?
hotfixes that came out. I think it was the day after our episode, so it was on the third.
Yep.
They went through. They fixed an issue where like a couple of the unique enemies and ruins of Shesharon would spawn invisible. So all of a sudden you might be getting attacked by something and don't know what it is, or you're trying to, find the mob and the indicator is saying that it's like there on the screen, but you can't see anything until you just accidentally walk too far and aggro into it and hopefully have the AoE to kill the thing. They also, one of those ongoing issues, there's a couple of bounties in Act 5 that got disabled because there's been an issue in the past where you'd have mobs that would spawn outside of the play area, and when that happened in a place where you had a bounty that basically needed you to kill every single mob on the map, it made it, and you couldn't complete it. And that's an even larger issue in 2.3 because the bounties mean so much with the cube and how they interact with getting your legendaries, reforging legendaries. And so that was really big because now you're like screwed. You might have gone
Yep.
through Act 1, 2, and 3, and then when Act 4 pops up on like the bounty rotation and you can't complete one of them, that it's just like, well, crap. I have to start all over, and now I have all these other maps, or I have all these other mats for these other acts that I'm going to have stacked up that I might not be able to do with, depending upon if you need to craft anything. And so a couple of these, like I think it's the Touch of Death, and Cursed Forum, were removed for this until they can fix the monster spawning issues that they've been having.
Better than not being able to finish your bounties, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, we got some emails about that last week,
Mm-hmm.
that people were having troubles with it, and yeah, so it's good that they're at least taking care of it temporarily.
Yeah. Other than that, there was the one unique enemy in Desolate Sands, Pazuzu. He was one of the dervishes, one of the like little spinning mobs that apparently was spawning in the wrong location somewhere in the Desolate Sands. I didn't come across this one myself. I hadn't seen what the actual bug was. Maybe it was spawning away from the indicator, or it was supposed to spawn in a certain location and wasn't.
Yeah, I never saw it either.
Yep, did not know that one. And
Oh.
then the final hotfix was for the Court of Sherma, where it would that had the one where you had the chance on hit to drop the area of chaos that would blind and slow enemies within the field that it creates. Or it seems that it wasn't always working, and it would go through and drop the field, and some mobs would not get blinded or slowed. I don't know if that has anything to do with the CC changes that they made, but apparently they fixed the issue, and it should now be applying it properly.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was pretty much it for the hot fixes. Other than that, I mean, there's just kind of like some of the ongoing things with we kind of mentioned, or Lala, you were mentioning in your weekend gaming, we have the Helltooth lag, which is
lag doctors.
Yeah, lag doctors, taking over the mantle from the lag romancers. It's just the next one of the next big things is it's on the list. They've made some adjustments since the beginning of the patch, but there's still a lot more that needs to be done. I think it was. And then there was also just the zombie wall. One of their most effective runes is the zombie wall, the fire wall. Oh god, don't even get me started on that one.
I have yet to experience all of that. I was playing with 3 days the other day, and he was throwing it out, and I wasn't experiencing the lag, but it's fun. It sounds like.
Yeah, Lala, you want to talk about that one a little bit since you got to experience a whole bunch of that last week?
The lag or the runes?
Both.
Well, the lag appears to be them stacking dots, because if you kill the enemy, you don't lag out. So if there's a lot of enemies and they're not dying very quickly, you lag out. Like, first the frames drop. There's a lot of things going on, the frames seem to drop. But you come back and hopefully you're not dead. So that makes it a little scary, but also one of the major runes they're using is fire, which is the same brightness as a molten explosion.
Yep.
So if you're right in there, it's not so bad because you can hear it starting and get out. But I know Leviathan proc last night because he Furious charged right in to an explosion because you couldn't see it and he was too far away to hear it. And the only other rune I've seen them using is the cold rune, which you don't see the frozen orbs until they get really big and are about to explode. So both the runes that they're using are not very fun for group play.
Yeah, so that is some other things in addition to like that lag component, which is like, not very conducive to group play, just those massive spell effects going on, especially the wall of fire, because it's not just being able to tell the molten explosions, you can't really see it through the flames, but just molten and desecrator, you could be standing in 13 desecrations and not really know it, and you
Not
have
even an idea.
yeah, you might be playing with a support monk, so your health isn't moving too much, so you're not really noticing it. But then as soon as something like an executioner or an exorcist comes along and hits you, and your health like really chunks because you have this constant damage that's mitigating the amount of healing that you're getting, and make it really noticeable. That's I don't know.
Yeah, I was playing with a witch doctor and a wizard tonight. I think it was Dead Advocate in 3 days. And so the witch doctor was throwing down all the fire, and then the wizard was throwing down fire. And man, I didn't proc, but I came really close to molten because I could
I'm
not see
very
it.
surprised they made it that bright. They put last season, the whirlwind barbs were the big, oh, there's so many tornadoes we can't see anything.
Mhm.
And they have fixed it. I'm surprised they then did this.
Yeah. And then, I don't know what they could do as far as like particle stacking from the effects itself, just to try and make things like frozen and the molten explosions more prominent through the graphics
Yeah.
of the different zombie walls, just to, I don't know, kind of alleviate that issue a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I didn't get to experience the ice rune too much, but damn, that wall of fire was pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
hmm
That we were talking last night is maybe they could like make the fire like purple or something.
Or even just like a different hue. Maybe make it black, just because it's wall of death, firewall.
There you go.
I
There you go.
see a witch doctor wall and I want it painted black. No, that doesn't work. Never mind.
Oh, I see what you're
I
doing
didn't know
there.
where I was going with that one.
Okay.
Works for me. I like it.
A little Rolling Stones action.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what Clam Chat has to say about that one. Whether that is approved or not.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do about the witch doctor.
Yeah, but yeah, so I mean that really is just, I know it's like the lag. Have they said anything about the graphics effects, but I know we've gotten a couple blue responses that they were trying to work on issues for the lag to try and, I guess, alleviate that either through like faster reporting or streamlining how it calculates damage. I think that was one of the ones that they had mentioned maybe in the Reddit Q&A, that it's not the amount that the damage figures are, like the amount of damage, whether it's like 1 billion or 20 damage, that the floating point calculations can handle that really quickly. The only times that the server begins to have any type of performance issues is based on the massive number of calculations that it's having to go and do. And if you have 5 or 6 dots, from a single class with a whole bunch of pets, as well as just direct damage, and then all the other spell effects going on, how much is having to calculate the damage on each individual mob on the screen. So if you went through and you blasted 60 mobs within, like a short amount of time, That's gonna be a lot to handle.
Mm-hmm.
You get something that they can do to just like streamline or roll dots together to get those calculations in. Not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Let's see. That I think that kind of wraps about up as far as official news, but we did
Yep.
have some things that we wanted to talk about. I guess kind of going into this very extended community section that we're going to be having here tonight.
We have
We
lots to talk about.
Yeah, we last episode we asked you a couple questions based on some like little like a couple they mentioned in the Reddit Q&A a couple hints at 2.4.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to there's a couple specifically that got mentioned where they kind of called out 2.4 that we wanted to talk about. And one of them was gold sinks. And we had a lot of people go through and write in about their thoughts on gold sinks, what they would like to see, how they think that they might handle it, and just kind of the community's take on what they think a gold sink or what would constitute a good gold sink for the game. And do you want to go ahead and start on that one, Lunatic or Lala?
Let's do it. So yeah, so we got a ton of responses. So we got we got we got a few emails. Twitter was going pretty crazy with it. Um, so there's a lot of good ideas in here. Um, I don't know if we just want to start with like the emails maybe.
Um, I would say probably let's go through and like kind of like shotgun off some of the Twitter responses.
Okay, we can do that as well. Um, should we just read them?
Yeah, let's just
All right.
go through it, hit them up.
Yeah, so we asked Twitter. He said, what would be some good gold sync ideas? Yeah, we'll just roll through these. Leviathan says something that adds to your session. Log in, purchase a Greater Rift buff to experience or Rift Magic find bonus, and then grind. Or why not even buy a buff before a Greater Rift, and if you pass it, you have a higher success or you have a higher success chance at gym upgrades. Um, and then Langenberg says buying death's breaths. I don't know. I can never say that. It always sounds funny. Death's breaths for 10 million. Then Menegies over the one of the mods from the one of the Reddit mods says gold sinks. I know that. I know him. Says gold sinks are tricky things. I think a possibility is using gold as an enhancer to enchanting to maybe help influence certain rolls or maybe unlock higher roll ranges. Screech says gold used to buy materials. So that's two votes for materials. Ace Fisher, who's the guy that I actually went to I went and hung out with on Friday, said I'd like to see a hideout similar to Path of Exile. Um, you could spend money on decorations and make kind of your hideout a little more customized
Yeah.
to taste.
So that's kind of like the equivalent of player housing. So you have your own individual like little
Yes.
place. So like you have you can take over Kane's house since he's not using it anymore.
Yeah.
And
Spoiler.
just go in there and kind of like do your own thing. Hang some items up on the wall.
Yeah.
I think you have one of those ones that also is kind of like asked for, and we've talked about on the show a couple of times about like having like some sort of like armor dummy or just like a mannequin or something, some way that you could quickly swap sets and settings and gyms, and like that you could have like an armor or just like some sets of armor displayed up on the wall that you could quickly swap in and out of. Um, because right now I know, Lala, this is something that you've done and something I'm preparing to do, is that a lot of times if you want like different play styles, like going from support monk to Juliana's, you're changing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Skills,
Yep.
passives, and so you found that it was
Q.
just easier to roll a new character.
Definitely a lot easier.
Yep.
Especially if both of your things use nothing of the same.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's a problem I'm having with even even in the lower torments. Like I want to do a speed barbarian, or I want to do my Hoda build, or I want to do my whirlwind. Like yeah, not like you said, all with the addition of the cube. It's like there's so much to change and there's so much to remember. Like, okay, what did I have on this before? I'll just screenshot
I think it's a
what I've
good
got on there.
problem though.
Absolutely.
To have the
Mhm.
choices of, oh, I want to play this. Let me do this. I think it's a good
Yeah,
problem.
that's
Yeah,
a good point.
especially when it's the same class. Because this was something that I was we're segueing now. This is a tangent, just tangent warning, just throwing that out there. I should get a graphic or something. This is something that I used to soapbox about a lot back when Diablo 3 was coming out, when they had settled on like the skill system instead of having runes, and that there would be no cost whatever to switch out your skills. And in the early beta, they had the Nephilim. Um, they had the Nephilim Ruin, which is now used for rifts. Before, it was something that you went to change your skills. You had to change skills in town, and you had to go to this altar in order to actually swap them out. And then by the time the game released, you just had to be in town to swap that out. And then they went and did where, well, if you're out in the field, you can swap your skills, but it has like a minute cooldown. And now it has like a slightly scaling cooldown where it's like 15 seconds. They made it a lot easier. But I was really huge on the kind of how you would identify with your character. And it's like if you don't have some form of permanence to your build, whatever spec it is that you're using, it kind of detracts from your attachment to your character. Because it used to be, like in D2, oh, I didn't play a necromancer. I played a lagromancer. I played a fishymancer. I was a bone necromancer. I used curses.
Yeah.
I was playing an elemental druid. I was a werebear. It wasn't I was just a druid. It was I played this particular spec of this particular class, and that's what you identified, and something that you had a little bit of pride in. But we are kind of now getting into that point where all the classes have multiple builds that they can go and play to different levels of efficiency, you know, and that we're kind of actually at that point where we're getting it, and so it is something that makes me happy. It's almost that the builds are at least diversified enough to where you're thinking, it's I should roll another character so that way it saves me time in between going and swapping through all these things when I want to um, change up, whether I'm playing a support build like a support monk to then going to a damage monk, or I want to play hammers while I am pushing progression, and then I'll switch over to a condemned build because I want to speed farm a regular rift, something
Yeah.
along those lines.
And I would say I would be 100% okay with just having multiple characters, but the problem is that
only
that a
have
lot
so
of us
many.
get into. Yeah, you only have so many slots, for
Mhm.
characters, and I mean mine are all full, and I have to delete characters every season. But then you have the, like the gyms, and a lot of times you share items between builds, and so a lot of times that stuff gets in the way too, which can be a big pain in the butt. And so you're
Yep.
like, oh, hang on, I gotta go back to my other monk so I can
I, for, I
grab this
Yep,
gym,
I forgot
or
to unequip my Bane of the Traps, so let me
yeah, or I
go
have
for
no
that.
idea where that
Or
gym's at.
let me just go and level another one up to 57. That's no problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the hard part.
Mhm.
So if they didn't change the gear, gear swapping or anything like that, I would like to see something with like legendary gems, for example, or something, something like that that could make um, just,
Hey, who knows? That might be the next step of Kanai's Cube. They could do a Happy Meal for jewelry, or they could just take sockets out of jewelry completely, remove legendary gems from there, and just put 3 slots in Kanai's Cube, and this is where you equip your gems.
what? What?
Yeah, think about that.
Oh my
And so that way
gosh.
your gems are just leveled up based on the account, and you have them across all of your characters. You don't have to worry about swapping things in and out. Who knows? It's a possibility. Could do it.
Oh my
Maybe.
gosh.
Maybe.
Not to
Yeah.
mention, it would also take away the pressure of us wanting a jewelry socket item, like
Yeah,
a Happy Meal.
it does. It does. It's one of those interesting things that by taking away something, it opens up diversity and build options. I mean, not that much. It does, okay, so we take away the socket, so now instead of trying to get like elemental crit and crit damage on a ring, now you have room for your main stat, or maybe cooldown reduction depending upon your class. And then for the amulets, or I mean, that's for the amulets, and then for the rings, cooldown reduction or attack speed in place of it, or just not having to get a socket on your SOJ, what have you. But it is something that it does. When you take away something that is absolutely mandatory for that item to even be considered, remove that, and it does give you a little bit of play. It gives you a little bit of option that you can do with it.
Of course, then they're going to have to go back and undo those changes. Hellfire always
always
going with
wanted.
a
Yep.
socket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they can
Something
do that.
nice.
That's easy. They can do that,
Yeah.
right? That's just
Oh, they
code.
can do that.
Yeah,
But it would be
Type
a
it. Just type it in.
Yeah, you just have to delete that string that you added, right? That's it. That's all that it is. That's all that it is. I've seen HTML before. That's got to be it. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Not edited HTML.
Brackets
I've
bold.
seen it. I accidentally clicked on that view source one time when I was, looking at something on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, never. Yeah, never do that.
Nope. What were we talking about? Gold sinks?
Yeah, somehow.
I told you.
Should we get
Sorry.
back? Okay. That's all right. That's all right.
That was a detour.
So
that would actually be a good gold sink. Let's open up the. You've mentioned it before on the show, the pane where you have all this gear that you just switch to by clicking a button.
Mm-hmm.
Let's open that up as something you can buy.
So it's kind of like a pseudo, yeah, it'd be like, the pseudo stash space where you have like the little dummy wearing a suit of armor or whatever next to your stash that you can have like an armor kit saved to it and just click the button and swap it out, and it costs gold or something along those lines, something to unlock, or gold every time that it is to swap. I guess that might not work too well if you have to pay to swap, because what if you run into that particular situation where you have no money and you want to get that gear back in order to play that play style? So then you have to go out and do something with your current gear until you had enough money to swap it over. I don't know. Because if
Well, I think any gold sink we put in is going to have that problem, though. Because it has to be attractive enough that people want to use it, which means people are going to say it's required to use.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those ones, but you just from kind of the feel or what I know of the development team, if they would add in something where you had to like pay to swap your gear from like this second stash or whatever it is, that it makes a choice, or it makes a decision at one point where you will no longer be able to play how you want to, without going and like farming a little bit further. And it would be that thing that they don't like, where it's like, oh, I'm stuck in a situation where I'm wearing my support stuff, and then I did this other gold sink or something along those lines, and now I have no gold, but now I want to go back to my solo build, but it's on my mannequin and it costs me 20 million gold to swap, so I can't afford it. So I have to go and farm in a group before I can re-equip it, and it makes a very bad experience for me as a player.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's actually what Paladin Patrick from Twitter, our friend from the show The Quest.
Oh yes.
So he's still listening. So so he reached out and said and suggested something similar to that, saying maybe you could have sort of like a temporary space with where you pay to put something in or pull it out.
Void storage.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I started thinking about was void storage. But like you were saying, Neinball, like that I see that how it can work with Warcraft, but I feel like with Diablo, it doesn't work quite as well because like you said, it can kind of limit the
Yeah.
gameplay a little bit.
Especially if you look at how World of Warcraft it's used for, because you have in World of Warcraft you have to have the item to transmog it. It's not like in Diablo where once you've acquired it, you've unlocked the transmog and you're just a trip over to the Mystic. And then you have all the other just like random goofy items where, I have the thing that throws the golden carrot on the ground, or I can throw banana peels and trip people, and it's fun for 5 minutes, but I have no way of reacquiring it, so I don't never want to delete it, and so I want to put it in. I just want to keep it in my bank. Oh, now I have the void storage, so I can put it in there, and never have to look at it again. And it's not taking up any room in my actual inventory for stuff that I want to re-equip or potions and such. But it's just there in case I should ever have the need to go and throw bananas.
Yeah.
Or is something that I want to hold on to this piece of gear because I want its transmog.
Yeah.
In Diablo, we don't have any type of cosmetic item, or joke items to use. We did have the dog briefly at one point, but now that's been taken out of our inventory. Our oh so precious inventory space, is freed up of that one slot. And now since that's cosmetic option, and of course transmog, it's just pick up the item. That's something that we learned about me very quickly. Even though I don't really make a big deal about it, I love transmog. So every time people would say, "Hey, do you need this?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Pick it up, drop it. And
Pick
it's
it
like
up.
you didn't need
Just
it.
call
Oh
it
yeah,
transmog when you
yeah.
grab
I
it.
just needed it for transmog. That's all. Thanks.
Yeah.
People would be like, "Oh, hey, I found this monk item. Does anybody want it?" "Oh yeah, sure." They'll drop it on the ground. I run over, pick it up, and then drop it again. "Thanks for the transmog."
Yeah, I feel like it's an unwritten rule. You have to, when you do it, you have to say transmog.
Transmog.
And then everyone laughs, but then you're semi being serious about grabbing it for transmog.
Oh hell yeah! Who isn't?
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I
all
do write Transmog Tuesday, and then
Okay.
you're also talking to Lala, who always sends in her transmogs, which I always love.
I have something for you, for the OCD in you, the completionist in you.
You're talking to two of us.
What if they changed the transmog interface to be like Kanai's Cube, and it showed you what you're missing?
Oh my gosh,
How would that make you feel?
awful.
Why not just look at Kanai's Cube to figure out what you're missing?
Because you haven't extracted everything for your transmog, like
Well, it's
everything
either
you've
in your stash waiting for that, or well, I guess there's some items that can't be cubed yet because they don't have
or you could
power.
have salvaged it.
Like the Ashbringer, which also can't be transmogged. They should do that. They should just add the Ashbringer in there, but not allow you
Or
to
the
do it.
Heart of Iron, which doesn't have a power.
Yeah. Hellfire Amulet, though you can't transmog or cube that one.
Just want to do more with the Ashbringer. That's all.
I just want to.
Just love it.
It's very sad to not get the thing on the screen saying new transmog.
It's an Ashbringer. It's beautiful. Still waiting for Frostmourne. Can't mention Ashbringer without a Frostmourne mention, though.
Yep. So, well, should we continue?
Yeah, we still have gold sinks to talk about. We got another little tangent to talk about.
We have a few.
Hey, you know what would be a great? You know what would be a great gold sink? Transmogs.
Transmog. Ooh.
Yep. Telling you right here. Trust
see,
me.
I
could see them adding new transmogs in the next patch. Guarantee it.
I see. That's something
I was
that I was
disappointed they didn't add for the season.
Oh yeah, the season rewards. They did say that they would, go and revisit it in case you missed it. I guess I didn't expect them to just do it immediately, after they completed the set. I figured that they would move on to something new.
I kind of feel that should have been some like a minor part of like the season journey. Chapter 2 rewards you with the first part of season 1's transmog. I don't think they should have gotten rid of actually having a different transmog though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I foresee them. I foresee it being like I see transmog as something more realistic for a gold sink than like purchasing like a buff or something like that, or I don't know, because
transmog would be temporary. That you would buy it and then you have it and then you're stacking gold again.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the answer, but I foresee it being something that people would think is cool, but doesn't necessarily need to be something that you have to have.
Hmm.
Like something like a buff or something like that, people are gonna say, you know what, if I don't buy this buff, then I'm not playing this game to its full potential. And
Yeah.
if I
I,
and
that
what's that?
that actually is what is it? Replay suggestion that I kind of liked. It was like a gambling. It combines gambling with the buff. That is just it's something that you could use to try and increase your chance at upgrading the legendary gem that
Yeah,
you could do.
that could be
But it's like
cool.
yeah, but you have to you spend gold and then you try and predict your rift finish time by a certain amount. But that's one of those ones where it's like you could always just aim at 15 minutes and then not kill anything and wait till
Yeah.
15 minutes in order to do it. That one is, I like the idea of like going through and trying and gamble it, but it's just too easy to play the system.
Mm-hmm.
That might actually be something that they could do actually with the old trials, since it's always spawning enemies at you and you can't run away. Well, and even though you could go out to the edges, but if it's something where it's always throwing things at you and you have a set number of waves that you have to complete, or something else that's like objective base, and is always throwing enemies at you that you can't just sit off to the side and play it easy and wait for the timer to tick off. Maybe if it's something that you could spend gold, go into a special rift, and you have a greater chance the faster you clear it, in order to try and actually push you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then of course we also have Leviathan's suggestion. He put in two suggestions. Leviathan putting in
The
all the work
overachiever.
with two big ideas here, and this one is big. Well, hold on. I don't think that anyone saw this one coming, but his suggestion is, why haven't we said this yet? Especially after we've been talking about it for 20 minutes. Stash space. And I
Oh,
think we actually preempted you on this one,
I think
Stephen.
you did say it last week as well.
Exactly. Just as I was going to say, we did preempt you on this because we talked about that one last week and why it would not work.
I think he was
But
saying, why haven't we said this? And it was a Twitter conversation.
yeah, true, true.
So, yeah, I
Well,
don't
mm,
see that happening.
the last of our
But the
Twitter
destruction.
responses was from Inner Demon, who just said, "Why don't you use gold to buff your drop rate and then just cap off the percentage? It's like the more
We
gold
just
you
kind of talked
donate,
about that.
increases your chance at getting drops."
Hmm. Could be
The problem
interesting.
with the gold sinks though is you don't want to make it so mandatory, but you also want to make it attractive enough to use. And I think we're hitting both ends of the spectrum of not attractive enough and
Mhm.
too mandatory.
Yeah, and also one of the other problems is, especially something along the lines of drop rate, that is really only mandatory towards the beginning of the season when you're in that rush. I need to complete my set. Okay, I went through. I've got my set now. I need to get my special complementary gear. I need that Gambriel's Vam braces. I need my crashing rain. I need a Leoric's crown. Something along those lines, so that way you can finish off whatever it is particular build that you want to do. And then you have another like little rush where, okay, now I have to get everything ancient. Okay, well, now I kind of have to get better rolls. I need to get, physical resist on this piece of gear. I need to get a better skill damage on this one because I had to re-roll the other one for crit and stuff like that. And then it kind of drops off and it's just like my gear is like about as good as it's going to get. And now I'm just kind of throwing blood shards and now with this season I'm throwing cubes just to try and get a little bit more out of this one next piece of gear. And I, is it for that, is it worth me spending all of my money to increase my drop chance for something that is just so minusculely going to happen? I just wonder if it's something that will I bother with actually like upping my drop chance, or does that also lead to player burnout where oh okay, I've completed my set. I got my greater Rift 50, thanks to this wonderful buff that made it to where, the legendaries are raining from the sky. And, well, I guess I'm done with the season now. Goodbye. I'll see you in, 3 months when the next season comes around.
Yeah, I don't feel like the drop chance. I don't feel like drop chances are an issue right now, to
Yeah,
where they need to increase it more.
yeah, it does just raise some interesting questions about how you can go through and do that, especially with, I don't know. But, everybody wants increased drop chances, but it also like increased drop chances would lead to I guess players dropping off a little bit faster. I went through, I got my stuff done. That really ties into the new seasonal journey and how much that might be able to keep or entice players playing through the majority of the season because they have a goal of other than the gear grind. Because a lot of players is just, I completed my set. I want to go
Yeah.
through and reach, I want to do Greater Rift 30. I wanted to, then next season, I want to hit 40, and then I want to hit 50. Now I want to hit 75. Um, maybe, maybe with this seasonal journey, it can keep players playing long enough because it's not so much that I want to hit just this one rift level. Well, now I also have to level up all these gems, and I have to clear this tier 10 rift under this amount of time, and so on and so forth. And that'll be an interesting metric that I really hope that Blizzard and the rest of the dev team shares. It's been
Yeah.
a while since I've done like a little blue post talking like with an infographic of how many players play hardcore versus softcore, how many hours or how much gold's been collected, how many enemies killed. Maybe we could see something like the end of the journey at the end of season 4 and have them talk a little bit about if they notice a noticeable uptick in the longevity of players through the season because of the seasonal journey mechanic.
Yeah. So I got to go in because they're talking about this a lot in chat. Um, Replay actually just brought up a really good idea that I haven't heard before. Um, so doing something kind of like they do similar did in Diablo 2, like selling the SOJs, but he's saying the community could deposit their gold or like sell it or something like that. Um, and basically, like if a certain target um, is hit, then there could be like a community buff, um, like a community wide buff or something like that, or I don't know, like you name it. Like if that limit is hit, then you know this happens or something like that. So make it kind of more community based. That'd be interesting.
A game-wide message: evil walks the earth.
Yes. Except that already kind of happens, doesn't it? That message.
Not in in D2, not in D3.
D3 something a message pops up once in a while like a new evil walks the earth or something like that. Doesn't it?
Don't know. Not that I recall.
I feel like it
Nothing's
does
coming to mind.
somewhere.
Lala, you got anything on that one?
Nope.
Nope. Sorry, you're
I
alone on that
made it
one.
up. Something like
Hive
when
Terror
I think one of the
Imperial
Rift
is
Guardians or something.
whispering. Well, I mean, there's the message of the Hubers when you're fighting the Soul of Evil.
What does it say?
Now I don't remember. I remember what it
Alright.
says when you kill them. The darkness is lifted. That's about the only one that I actually pay attention to.
Yeah, they're saying it happens when the Rift Guardian spawns.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Okay.
See, I'm not making crap up, guys. Come
No,
on.
we're too busy looking at the map trying to figure out where he is.
Go, kill it. Let me tell you about Bane of the Trapped and how unimpressive with the changes Rift Guardians are now. I feel I spend less time on the Rift Guardian than I do like a single elite pack.
Yeah, they go fast.
Very fast.
Yep.
Maybe they need a buff. I'll shut up now.
Tangent.
Last thing anybody needs. And we're still talking about gold things because that was just all the Twitter responses that we had. We still have emails that we have to go through.
Let's get to them.
Yeah.
You want to start them off?
Yeah, get in there. Go for it.
You want me to start them off?
Sure. Why not?
All right. So Mermaider emailed us
Love the name.
and said, I like that name, Mermaider. Merman. No, but he said they should go the route of League of Legends and just have expensive potions that you can buy from vendors that give various buffs. And they're only usable at 70. And so as you use a potion, it burns it, and you can stack as many as you want. And they last an hour or two. Then he gives a few possibilities of what these might be. You could have boosted damage, boosted survivability, boosted experience percentage, boosted magic find. If magic find worked, and and then he suggested possible price range of 500,000 gold. So.
Oh, if it is gonna be a gold sink, it's got to be a lot more expensive than that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's those potions. I don't think it should be that expensive because those are required. If they're going to give you more damage or more survivability, you're
You're
going to
basically
need them.
required to have that.
If you're pushing, you need them.
Yeah, but that is the one thing. Like, if it's a gold sink, that it has to be something attractive enough to make you want to have no money. That's the trade-off.
Yeah.
It's kind of like right now with like Death's Breaths. Do I spend all of my Death's Breaths enchanting, or do I throw some in the cube? But I also want to upgrade some rares, and you're kind of always in that state of what is worth my time to go and use these Death's Breaths for.
Yeah. And the thing I like about that is that it's not one sink in that. It's like there's more than one option to use all your death's breaths. Man, the more we say that, the funnier that phrase gets. Death's breaths.
Death's breath. Maybe.
Death's breath.
Maybe.
So I like the idea
dog's getting out.
And so I like the thought of there being more than one gold sink. So like maybe it isn't just a potion buff or all these other ideas that people have listed. Maybe there's more than one place where you're like, crap, I have this much gold, I could do this with it, I could do this with it, or I could do this with it. I need to do all three, but which do I need to do the most right now? Be interesting, because I feel like death's breaths are in a good place right now because of that. So yeah. You want to take the next email?
Sure. I'll go ahead and grab the next one. This one comes in from David. He actually had kind of a string of ideas that he had about just the different gold sink ideas. And he was actually thinking of some ideas that wouldn't affect the game too much at the competitive level, and kind of coming off of one of the ideas that Leviathan had tweeted about, like the buff that makes the gym upgrading process easier, or like the better chance to succeed. But then he's like thinking that that's just spending gold in advance to try and predict the time. Or he was also one of the ones that is the let me send in gamble on when I can kill the Rift Guardian, and then you get some sort of buff if you gamble correctly. But then you'd have to he was saying the same thing. So you have to implement some sort of check if you're standing still. There's a dog.
Rough.
Yep, and but then it's also just something that he had like the in game of say it's just buying some sort of portal. Is just to take a break from like the higher level greater rifts, and that you're in something like when you enter the portal, you're in like a greater rift like 1000, but it's also a different character with different powers and different gear, and you have all like severely inflated stats. So this almost is like, oh hey, I'm gonna go and enter a greater rift, and then I get to play as Diablo, that type of thing.
That would be sweet.
Uber powerful. Set it up. Just switch it off. So that way, it's just like a gold sink for something that fun that you could do. Or even just like you could go and it would give this is just something that you could do, have fun, play a different class or a different character or a different set, whatever, and it's really rewarding in terms of the experience and reward and like items that you got from it. So it'd be something that you would want to spend money on. And it's just like a different idea instead of like there's taking a different direction from what we've had a lot of ideas. Oh, buff this or buff that, or oh, I can buy more stash space or Death's Breath. And this is just hey, thrown out there. Why don't we have something that we can just as like a different game mode completely?
I think out of the other ones that you sent me and that were on the Twitter, that I like that one the best. It doesn't necessarily have to be that, but just opening up a portal to somewhere different where you do something different.
Buying. How much would one of those portals cost?
Oh, if
20 million?
I don't know. It'd have to be
Oh, I
expensive.
think that's too low.
Too low.
I think
Yeah.
if you're in the millions,
Like
it's too low.
something that you do, something that you can only do like once a week or once a month if you're playing regularly, or
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like one of those ones that have to be in the billions with, how much
Yep.
money people have nowadays. Especially
so
with
we're thinking
like
of something that you can only do once in a great while.
yeah, because this,
Well,
it's
with you being able to make vaults now, that's not
Mhm.
really
yeah,
once in a great while.
that's exactly the point I was about to bring up.
Mhm.
It's just, it's like we have easy access to vaults now. We just have to find a puzzle ring and that's it.
Yeah.
Or a friend with one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I do.
Aw,
I like that idea.
so cute.
That would be a big gold sink that you could save up for. That sounds like, man, that would be like, I really want to get to that point to where I can run one of these.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Regardless of whatever it is, but just having a portal to open up that you're spending a lot of money on, which would be cool. So yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. We.
I know why you sighed.
Yep. I will take this next one. This one comes in from Duke, who actually sent us in quite a few little creative things.
This guy made my week.
Yeah,
For the record.
this is his idea for a gold sink coming up on screen right now. And just wanted to see if this was too gaudy. Is gaudy enough of a gold sink?
No.
Go big or go home?
Yeah, go big or go home. For our
Oh,
listeners
man.
on iTunes and Stitcher, it is literally a gold sink.
A golden
A
colored sink.
A
Water
gold
faucet.
plated sink. There you go.
Oh, Duke.
This guy.
This guy.
Yep. All I have to say is just you've got some other things in store. If you like that one for later tonight, we got some other great images to share. Can't wait.
From him.
Uh-huh.
So I forgot this last one. This one's really good too. I'll take this last one.
You want it? You want it? Okay.
So this last one comes from Realist. So regular listener of the show.
I'm actually going to, 1 second. I'm going to give the floor to both of you so I can try and get this dog put
Okay.
up real quick.
You got it.
Yep. Keeps stiffing my leg. I'll be right back.
So he said he felt compelled to write in about the gold sink, and so just trying to figure out a way to, that's something relevant, but somewhat temporary to keep people to continue to spend gold. So he's saying, so in this instance, each item would be purchased at a set percentage of the gold based on level. So, for example, level 1 would be 5%, and the top being 50 to 75% of total gold. And so, basically, what these items would do, if I understand correctly, or they would just have time-based buffs. And so, here he has some of his examples are. So the first one is called Lunatic's Imaginative Lore, or Lunatic's Infamous Deer Jerky. He says this buff would cause percent chance to stun to enemies based on length of skill being used. Level 1 starts at low percentage, and highest level would be 50%. And then Lunatic's Jerky would pull enemies in within 15 within 15-foot radius, and maybe the level would be based on the distance. Then he's got Leviathan's Dog, and Leviathan's Unwavering Will, and this buff would cause an invisible dog that would run around enemies and cause confusion as the enemies try to catch the dog. Level is based on the number of enemies. The Unwavering Will would give a buff that increases, let's see here, that increases after a certain amount of time of gameplay. We'll give you a buff that increases percent defense and hit points after a certain number of hours gameplay. The level would increase defense and hit points by 2% while decreasing number of hours by maximum of 50%. The Neinball's expanded vocabulary
Here it
/
goes.
work ethic. Clam chat. Ogchilds. This buff would cause enemies to change to other acts enemies as they all are similar enough but slightly different. Level based on percent chance to hit to change.
Mm-hmm.
Work ethic would. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so this would be something where you're going through, you enter into a cave, like in Act 1, and it's an ice cave from Act 3. It's close enough. It's a
close
cave.
Enough.
But it's just different.
And then his work ethic would cause a buff allowing the mobs to be charmed into fighting for you. Levels based on radius and time of duration. Aww. Aww. He continues on here though. Archon's blame would cause enemies to draw toward your follower and your alt players to your follower or other players for a certain amount of time, level based on time. Archon's evil dominion. An item could be found as a random drop that would open a portal to Antarctica where you would fight penguins, yielding musical instruments and a special guest boss. The guest boss would be Archon the Wizard, and special guest appearance, Flux's skillful dialogue. J. Wilson jokes. Oh, no, okay, sorry. Special guest appearance, and then the next item it would be Flux's skillful dialogue, which J. Wilson jokes would appear in the chat every so often in context appropriate, like my ex-wife after each user's message. So that's referring to the Diablo II podcast.
It's still so strange calling it Diablo II as opposed to Ink Gamers. It's been Ink Gamers for so long.
I know it.
Yep.
And I only called it correctly today because I just listened to their newest podcast today. Mm-hmm. So otherwise I would have said Ink Gamers.
Yep. And Fouch has a little bit of shout out there in chat where you have Lala's buff. Everything that you touches comes with a unique sound. So like when you get a conduit shrine, it yells out, "Conduit!"
So apologies for first-time listeners or people who are just stopping in, because that's a lot of internal or a lot of inside jokes, but it's all good fun. So if you don't understand them or want to know what any of them mean, just go back and listen to some episodes
or keep listening and you'll get it eventually.
Keep listening.
Maybe.
Yeah, because we bring up the same jokes over and over until you start to get them.
But we actually had a listener go through and send us a question, or send me a question directly on Twitter. What the hell is a Happy Meal? Like, you guys keep on asking him. You guys keep on talking about it. I feel as if I'm missing something.
So Happy Meal started because we were trying to figure out a different name to call Ramalandi's gift, and everyone was calling him Ramalama Ding Dongs. And I think one night we were in raid call or something, and we were like, let's just call him Ronald McDonald's.
Yeah, Ronald McDonald's. And
then Ronald McDonald's turned into Happy Meal.
Ronald McDonald's turned into Happy Meals just because it's shorter and sweet. So we have special coded language.
They have to be.
It does. It comes in a box. This is true.
Comes in a box. Yep.
It's a nice little gift waiting for you when you open it.
Thanks for that, realist. That was fun to read.
I love it.
I will pass my jerky on to every enemy and give them all jerky.
Are you even talking about the same thing anymore?
Well, yeah, my buff was my infamous deer jerky and my imaginative lore. So I will hold on to that. So is that it for Gold Sinks?
I think that was it for Gold Sinks.
Any like final thoughts that you guys have on Gold Sinks?
Oh, just like I was going and thinking about it myself this past week, and it's just, I don't know. It's hard to say because a lot of the ones with like increasing your drop chance or XP are great, but it kind of rushes up the game experience.
Yeah.
And so it ends up being like well, I don't really need to play anymore. It does help those that are very competitive and want to, play the season through the entire time and giving them a little bit of extra bonus for what it is that they're playing. But I'm not sure.
It
But
also
even
help the very casual who don't play enough to get success usually. It's the middle
Mhm.
ground people that it doesn't.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true.
It's hard. It's hard just this game in general because they want to continue to please the hardcore game, like the lowercase hardcore gamer, the people that play just all the time.
Hmm.
But they also want it to be appealing for people. Like, I mean, that's why they brought on a console. Like they want it appealing for people who just want to sit down on the couch for 20 or 30 minutes, run a rift or two, and then go do something else. And uh, I they value those people just as much.
Hmm.
Um, and how do you please both sides? And I think that's the issue that, I mean, you're going to come across with any game, right?
Hmm.
Particularly Blizzard games. But how do you give a gold sync? Because I mean, if you think about it, like a gold sync is when you have too much gold. Well, if you're
Yeah,
a casual player, you might not have too much gold,
yeah,
and
with
so
which to spend. So it's almost like one of those ones. If it's something that has set prices, it makes it really difficult to
yeah,
do. But maybe if it's something that you can like toggle a buff. The great thing is like with Kanai's cube, it's just like we want to add a new mechanic. Throw it in the cube. There's just now when you open up the cube, there's a little button here that's like toggle Midas mode. And so that way, when
Midas
you
mode.
toggle it, is now you have these increased drop chances or increased XP buff. But enemies no longer drop gold. And so it becomes a gold sink in that way that now I cannot acquire gold while I have this buff running. Though obviously there's some things that would have to work on that because I could still go through, have that equipped, run a bunch of grifts or regular rifts, and then just chain run like 15 vaults with a whole bunch of gold find gear without the buff on in order to get all the gold that I need to re-roll items and such. So, but it's almost something as if it has to be like a passive bonus that's like always running, or
Yeah,
just something that you can turn on and off as you need that passively sucks away your gold, or even something that just it's like while this buff is on, you're losing 5% of your gold or 10% of your gold, like every minute, or maybe you're losing like 0.5% of your gold or 0.5% of your gold every second, and it's just slowly draining down, so it's like you'll never, if it updates, automatically, so it's not like 10 seconds and you're done, but it's just like 10% in the next minute, 10% of that, 10% of that. It will slowly, kind of take your entire collection down after amount of time without leaving you penniless. You can, once you get to a certain point, you can go back and turn it off, or you're
hmm
continuing to acquire gold while you're running to keep it going or something along those lines.
if it's taking a percentage of your gold, then they'd have to figure out how to scale the whatever you're receiving in return as well.
Hmm.
Because obviously 10% of my gold is not going to be equivalent to 10% of Leviathan's gold.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be
Or Lala's gold.
yep, it would just be
His
something.
is like twice as much. I've been rolling my weapon, which if you've ever tried to
Okay.
roll damage
Yeah.
off of a
It's
weapon,
bad.
it's a lot of rolls. I've spent a
Yeah.
few
Yep.
billion on that.
Hmm.
See, I even like the idea of just something simple as um, maybe another option is just being like a higher ranked gym that is just like, and that's kind of what they were trying to do. Was it in vanilla? Like when they had that top gym that was just like crazy expensive, and that was like one of the ways to, get rid of your gold. Just maybe just give us another gym that is just like, I don't know, like 100 million per gym or more. I don't know.
Yeah, but even then, that's one of those ones that's like
They
that's
you
only a
get back.
temporary
Yep.
thing. Yeah,
Yep.
you'll as soon
I'm
as
just
you're
trying to think of giving options so like you
yeah
have more than one place that you need to spend this.
yeah. I think a lot of people are kind of like in the right track. It has to be some sort of buff. It
Yeah.
has to be something like that you can continually repurchase and is timed. If it's
Uh,
anything permanent, whether it's stash space, some transmog option, or even that, like buying like Death's Breaths, eventually you will find the need that you no longer need them, or you'll get to the point where you'll no longer need them, and it's no longer a gold sink.
Not to mention with like the Death Breath, the that would takes the reason for doing rifts away when you get to the end game, because you have a whole bunch of griff keys saved up, you have a whole bunch of gold saved up, so that's really the only reason you're running them.
Yeah. But yes, that kind of is a bunch of interesting ideas that we had going out there. And if you're listening to this for the first time, you didn't get a chance to send in your email, please, by all means, westmarchworkshop@blizzpro.com. If you'd like to send in your ideas for what you think would make a good gold sink in the game, kind of framing it around what is it that you would be okay with spending all of your money on throughout the entire season? Something that you could foresee. Just put yourself in the mindset. It's the end of the season. I have my full set together. I have 3 full sets. I've cleared Greater Rift 60. I have 1,000 Death's Breaths. I have 2 million Forgotten Souls. 3 blue mats. Is that still relevant? Is that joke funny anymore? Sitting in my stash.
Yes.
What is it that you need? What is it that you would still be interested in throwing your billions of gold at that point? Besides stash space.
Besides stash space.
Because we know, yes, you would just buy stash space endlessly, even at 1 billion gold each. If you could just continually spend 1 billion gold, it'd just be like
that would be the new meta. There wouldn't even be leaderships in it.
Yeah, I've got 98 stash. I have 98 stash tabs. What about you, brah? Bring it,
brah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yep. So the other question that we asked people to talk about, send in last week was they also were kind of hinting at, like what could some other possible options be for, making legendary items as more, as more appealing, because currently, pretty much everyone has is using 6-piece sets, or multiple lower piece sets, or like a 4-piece set and a 2-piece set, something like that. So how can they bring back using legendary items back on that same plane? And so we asked people to send in their ideas on that as well. I feel like this one is a lot more difficult to to think about. So as a result, we did get quite a few less responses. We got less responses than the gold sync. But yeah. So I mean, we can talk about I'll go ahead and talk about the Twitter responses. Langenberg, he mentions you could give set items a higher multiplier, and sets only like a certain, like a little bit of a lower multiplier. So he's probably talking about damage, I believe, or maybe toughness or experience. Giving whatever bonuses you're getting, maybe giving the legendaries a higher bonus. I believe is what he means. But then Screech mentions that he thinks that maybe rather than putting the legendaries on the same plane, but just giving us more options with maybe other sets, such as like 2 or 3-piece sets, and then that you wouldn't feel so required to wear those 6-piece sets all the time. You could then start taking those 2 and 3-piece sets, and start mixing and matching them, their different bonuses, and that could make those interesting.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 tweets we had.
Yeah. And
I don't think it's fixable though, because even if it's not sets, you're still looking for this item, so it's still a set, even if it's not a set.
Yeah, I mean there is that there's that way of going through and looking at it. And I think we might have mentioned that on last week's episode about if we just going to the next best in slot, kind of like the Sun Wuko's monks, they have, even though they're only using like a 4-piece set and they have a lot more options, all those other, all those other item classes that they're have freed up are now being used by like the same items. So
I think we're actually in a better place though, between the cube and the fact that there's multiple sets for multiple classes that are viable. Maybe there's only one or one option on a set for pushing, but you have other options while you're doing other things like farming or grouping.
Mm-hmm. Or even something along the lines of this one kind of goes back to something that was data mined a while ago, and what was that? I think it was the 2.1.2, or maybe it was 2.2 Cursed Realms.
Mm-hmm.
It's just having some form of play that either disables all of your items, and then at that point, yeah, who cares about sets? Who cares about items at all? Or maybe something like in between Cursed Realms and that, where it disables all of your set items, somewhat like the new Conquest, where you have to clear the Greater Rift 40 with no Greater Rift 40 solo with no class sets equipped.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not an actual play mode. Maybe it's not some sort of buff. I guess it would be a play mode, but maybe it's some sort of special achievement that you can do just without equipping sets, or it could be one that I was thinking of is like a legendary gem that would be more powerful than Bane of the Trapped in terms of your DPS, but its bonus is only active as long as you have no set items equipped.
Hmm.
But I mean that works with the conquest because it's a set amount. It's a 40.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to get to 50 to top the leaderboards. As soon as you put in the leaderboards, there's going to be the best setup, which makes it a set without set bonuses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that is necessarily wrong, though. It's um, and I guess you could consider sets as being literally the green piece, like literally the green items, or sets as in a group of items, be it literally, all from the same, um, like green set, or a set as in, all from the same group that feed off each other, like, maybe using all items that increase multi-shot damage or something like that for the demon hunter. So it kind of depends on how you want to look at this and how you want to call it a set, right? In this case, I guess I was thinking literal green pieces, like, because right now, we um, currently, well, maybe I'm not. I keep going back and forth because, like, I, I don't always like the idea of having to use all green, all from the same thing. But then if you use all legendaries, you're probably, and what you're saying, Lala, I think, is like you're generally going to use the same. Like there's always going to be one best.
You're going to use whatever is best for you.
Yeah.
And so it'll end up being, well, this is your cookie cutter. Go use it. You can't use set pieces for like this particular trial or play mode, or you get the special bonus if you're not using any set pieces. So this is your new set. It just isn't green.
Right. Man.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think if there's some kind of leaderboard type of thing for that, I don't think there is going to be an answer. Now, something getting to Greater Rift 40, there probably is a lot of variation because it's not as hard as climbing to 60 or above.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's also some classes like Demon Hunter. Sure, you're not using Unhallowed Essence, but with the power of Yang's recurve and like a focus and restraint, the multi-shot, essentially the same exact build as using Unhallowed Essence with a multi-shot, will clear Greater Rift 40 for that conquest, no problem.
But your focus and restraint are sets, right?
Yeah. No, I mean that's for the conquest itself is specifically class sets, not
It's
sets
the
in
big
general.
class sets. It
Yeah,
doesn't
and I
look like you
believe
can use Shenlongs.
yeah, and I believe John Yang's response on that John Yang, Wyatt Chang's response to that particular question and during the Q&A was finding something for players to do outside of always having to play with 6-piece sets.
Yeah.
I said Yang's recurve, and so John Yang's name was in my head, but it was Chang that had responded.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's some some interesting ones. That one definitely we didn't get as much feedback on. It's a much more difficult problem to go through and address. Like, how do you go through and do that? Especially with Lala's point of you just make a new set if you take away sets. There still is going to be another best in slot. And this is also going to be coming in 2.4 when they attempt to revamp some of the old, quote unquote old sets, Marauders and things, Marauders icons, make them be more competitive with all of the new sets because the power creep has been, so extreme these last couple patches.
Yeah. We did get one email about it from Cynic. And his name always confuses me because it has an X before and an X after.
Mm-hmm.
But Cynic, because he pronounced it for us. So he said he had an idea. So this is interesting. He said, how about instead of the set pieces they drop, how about instead of set pieces they drop consumables like the Ramalani's gift? So he's saying, for example, like a Marauder's gift would make a legendary that you desire to be qualified for a set bonus. So maybe the set bonuses don't go away, but the literal green items themselves go away.
So it's like a consumable Ring of Royal Grandeur.
Yeah, it seems like that you could use on.
It seems more like a multi-cube.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like being able to put many things into the armor slot in the cube instead of just one.
Yeah. Almost like you can cube a set.
Or like a gem instead of a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Marauder's gem would give
Yeah.
you give you one piece of the Marauder's bonus. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah. Imagine if that's the next Kanai's recipe. You can cube a 2-piece set bonus.
Oh gosh!
Imagine what that would do.
Just the power creep just gets real every time we talk about new features being added to the game. I just keep picturing Greater Rift 100.
Well, that is the direction. Who knows?
Yeah.
We have Greater Rift 79 clear for the season.
It's true.
In a 4-player group. I mean, we are getting close. We might see a Greater Rift 100 clear, next patch. We might see it this patch. Who knows?
I believe it only shows up to 99, doesn't it?
I thought in patch 2.1 that there was a Greater Rift 100.
Oh, I thought on the PTR when they were doing that bug, they couldn't show 100. It was only showing a 99.
Well, they might have taken it out.
79's crazy.
Yeah. So.
Sheesh.
Yeah, they are going to have to raise that ceiling at some point, and it's going to be really close, for when they have to do that.
Or what if they did not?
Unless they reset everything in a new expansion.
Unless maybe they no longer made rifts a thing, to where 100 is the highest you go, and then there's something brand new after that.
And then you do a greater rift.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. An ancient greater rift.
So you prestige, basically. You hit Greater Rift 99, then you trade in your prestige. And
what is this, Call of Duty?
Yeah. That's how everyone else does it, right?
They're adding it to WoW, so why not to Diablo as well?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that's a lot more of a more difficult piece to come up with. How to make legendary items, or how to make sets not be required. So if you guys have if you guys have any ideas, feel free to send them in. I know we had just received one right at the beginning of the show that I haven't had a chance to read through, so maybe we can look through that next week.
And that one actually is another idea for our current topic of conversation.
What's that?
The email that we received just as we were starting is about non-set play.
Oh.
Yep.
Yep.
So sorry.
We'll talk about that next week.
Yep. That we will definitely go through. So Dak Shadar, or just Dak. Thank you. Yay! I can call you Dak. I can pronounce that one. Yeah, we will get to yours. That one was one just as we were starting to go live, and we will get to yours next week. Don't worry, we got you. We got you.
We got you. Got you, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's it on that topic, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're not done.
No, far from it. Far from it.
What else we got tonight?
I'm not sure. That kind of covers, some of the stuff that we asked for in the last episode. We've covered the amazing amount of news that we've had to talk about this past week.
Let's do some emails.
Sure, let's get into it.
Our normal community email segment.
Uh-huh.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
I'll take the first one because I'm really excited about it. I think it's really funny.
Uh-huh. You do.
So this one, as we mentioned earlier, Duke sent in, the guy that sent in the literal golden sink has submitted, he said he while he was listening to episode 65, so last week's episode at work, he decided to get a little creative with it, and he sent us in this picture that I don't know if, do you have it up there yet?
Yep, there you go.
So this is his vision of High Seraph Tyrael and his lieutenant, or his lunatic lieutenant, on the move through the destroyed high heavens. And so I apologize for audio listeners if you can't see this beautiful goodness, but it is a picture of Tyrael with his face cut out and Jar Jar Binks' face in place.
You don't really have to cut out Tyrael's face. It's
true.
Tyrael as an angel. His face is a cutout.
That's true. And then who is that other guy?
Who's that other guy?
I don't know my lore. Who is? I actually don't know who that.
That is Izzle. Izzle. Yep.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, but I wasn't going to say it because then everyone's going to be like, "You moron! That guy's not even blah blah blah."
Yep, that's actually a piece of fan art of Iswolf coming across the Ezurath in Hell.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that piece of art.
Actually, I think I do remember that piece of art as well. But yeah, his face has been replaced with mine as his lunatic lieutenant.
His trusty lieutenant.
Me and Jar Jar.
Yep.
Well, High Seraph Jar Jar.
Do you know the lore joke there?
The lore joke of what?
Of being the lieutenant? Yes, no? Because his Iswolf was Tyrael's lieutenant.
Okay.
So, do you... Nope. Okay.
This is another one where he's going to say they should put this in the game.
Yeah. They should put this in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Well done, sir. Yeah, so if you're an audio listener, go look this up on YouTube because he did a good job.
Yeah.
Thanks, Duke. You should send in more pictures. Those are fun.
Yeah, it was something.
It was something.
It was different.
Neinball loved it. Neinball loved it.
Uh-huh.
So, Lala, you want to take the next one?
Which one is this?
This one would be from Jackson. Sorry, I don't know if I explained to you like how the emails work. Did I?
No.
Oh, the green ones that are the ones that are highlighted in green are you that you're gonna read through. So now you guys know how.
I don't have one by that person.
Okay.
So no.
Neinball,
Yeah.
I'll take this one.
Okay.
So Jack sent this one in, or sent in an email saying, "Sup, fellas. I've been a viewer for quite some time now. Big fan of the show. Wanted to ask if you guys know, or if you guys know if I use a cube and upgrade my ancient weapon, can it become non-ancient? Vice versa. And then he's asking, what about the other way around? So he's saying, uh,
Oh,
yes.
you know why I didn't have this one? Because you
No.
sent me the one you replied to, so I have it sent from Westmarch Workshop.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So the answer is yes. Yes, if you reforge an ancient item, it is probably going to become non-ancient
Yeah.
in the cube,
Mhm.
because every time you re-roll a legendary item, no matter if it's ancient or non-ancient, it has a 10% chance of being ancient, and so you've only got 10% of that thing hitting ancient again.
Yep. So highly do not recommend reforging an ancient weapon.
Unless you
Uh,
just have a crap load of mats.
Unless you just happen to have an ancient one just sitting around that you can afford to reroll. If it's your best one that you need in order to complete your build,
Don't do it.
don't do it. Don't do it till you have a backup, because it's only a 10% chance to get that ancient back when you reforge it.
Yep.
Let's see. Our next one here is from Andrews. I think I got that one right.
Andreas?
Andreas. Yeah.
Andreas?
Yep, there we go. This is actually a lore one, and just sup fellas. I have a random question. Do you think we'll ever get to kill Tathamet, or will Diablo always be the one guy who has to die?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, that is
That's
one
my
of
lore
those.
corner.
Yep, that is. He also has an item that he sent in, which I will be showing in the items of the week. Um, but yeah, to answer that one, pretty much Diablo is going to be the one that we're always going to have to kill. Even when they came out with the Book of Cain and they explained who or what Tathamet was, and then when we saw the kind of Diablo's goal in Diablo 3 was to bring all the primevals together, there was a little bit of me thinking that, oh shit, they're reforming Tathamet, and then we're all screwed. But kind of after going through it again, um, that even with the powers of all the primevals combined, their power is still nothing compared to what Tathamet's was, because Tathamet's corpse is all of hell. So it's all of the demons and just any of the innate power of hell as a realm itself is what is combined to make Tathamet. So we might fight, say, a stronger primeval that's consumed even more demons and is kind of like an avatar of Tathamet. But I don't think that we'll ever fight Tathamet itself, because the only thing that was able to actually beat Tathamet was Anu, which is like that's all the angels coming back together and reforming, to kind of rival that's power. So I think that Tathamet is going to stay dead. And no matter what Diablo and the other primevals can go through and get together and concoct, will ever really quite match that same power as Tathamet, and she'll rest long and dead. And not really in the depths of hell. The corpse is the depths of hell. So there you go.
You don't think
No,
it'll ever happen?
uh,
Ever?
I will never rule it out completely, but I want to say 99.999.3 repeating, of course, um, chance that it will not come back. Like there may be like an avatar, something like that. Avatar,
Evature.
Ong. Oh God, I'm being triggered by how horrible that movie was. Never mind. I digress.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. I will not answer the lower question this time. Maybe
Uh-huh.
next time when we have, next time when we have more time, I will give you guys the true answer. Yeah.
True answer.
Nice try, Neinball, but
Let's tell it how it really is.
yeah. So next email comes from Cruckle. Starts off as always with "Sup, fellas," um, and he's talking about he's been listening to the show since day one, which is awesome. So he was that this show actually started um, at the same week that he was going. He was trying to go through to look for a Diablo themed podcast, which is pretty cool. So since then, he's also been listening to Diablo Soulstone, or sorry, Diablo Soulstone. I just mixed them both together. The Shattered Soulstone and the Diablo podcast over from Ink Gamers slash Diablo
.net.
.net. So yeah, he loves that. Even between the shows, we create a community, and so that's the one thing I like about that kind of drew me in to podcasting with Diablo as well, is that I feel like everybody is so encouraging. Like I feel like Nevik and I talk all the time. We're like Nevik from Shattered Soulstone, or things like that, and so it's nice to. Even though like they're not really seen as like our competition, like everyone is here doing the same thing.
Yeah, as we're all friends, and even,
yeah, absolutely. Which is really cool. So anyway, he said that we helped him get the courage to start up his own podcast. I'm assuming with his own buddies, and he covers all of gaming. He said, but Diablo 2 always gets brought up every week. He talks about Metal Gear Solid, Destiny, Fallout, new Diablo patches. So they're talking about, that's all the stuff they're talking about right now. So one thing that he didn't mention is what his podcast is called.
Yes.
So I'd love to check it out.
Yeah. So Cruckle, email us this next week and let us know what the name of the show is, so we can point people over in your direction and give you a little bit of love.
Yeah. So thanks for the positive comments and encouragement, because we'd love to check it out and all that good stuff. He also sent in a picture just as he's leveling up. He thought it was interesting that that I don't know if we put the picture on, got it ready for the video, but his shoulders that he was going to equip actually subtracts his recovery percentage by 100 million% recovery. So he just thought it was interesting that he'd never seen like something that changed that drastically. So kind of funny to see.
Yeah, so the thing is, because it was like his own. Yeah, I did not have the item, unfortunately, but his only item of any with any life regeneration on it. And like, based on what his toughness was, because he was, I think, 62 at the time that he took the picture, or he was Paragon 62, and it was he was level 62, and it was his only item that had health regen on it. So, and then it apparently just something with the recovery stat, and that just it capped at 100 million in terms of reporting the differences in recovery. Just where we found out that the recovery stat stops reporting at 999,000.
Yep.
This picture reminded me that there is the little armor dude when your armor gets broken.
Yeah, repair.
I haven't seen even the yellow one, and since I moved to hardcore, I forgot that there was one.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to break your armor when you can't die.
Yep.
Well, I guess you can. You just don't, or try not to.
Yep.
And we have this next email here comes from Aramite, who I believe is still in chat with us here.
Aramite.
Yep.
It's been a machine lately.
Yeah, ever so slightly. And he sent in, just wanted to go through, kind of give us a little bit of update, that he has completed his seasonal journey. He is a guardian. So he managed to go through, get all that little pleasant stuff done. They leveled up all the gyms, ran all the rifts, all the grifts, did all the necessary things, and he finished it up actually on Monday. And he actually, while he was going through and doing this, he lost one of his witch doctors. So even with that little bit of a setback, he was still managed to go through and complete it. His last one that he did was so basically it's the Lionhearted Conquest, which is the Greater Rift 60, but you have to do it solo. So you can get the Lionhearted Conquest even without being in a group, but he wanted to knock them both out at the same time, and so
Nice.
he the very first Greater Rift 60 that he did was done solo in order to complete it for his final step in the seasonal journey, unlock the Guardian rank, get the final portrait. And he also just wanted to send in a screenshot because even though he did not get the conquest itself first, he feels that he got the second best number that you possibly could for this particular one, because he went through and got it right there. There he is, Blizz Pro Aramite, clocked in at 666 for the Lionhearted Conquest.
Jeez.
Yep. Could not have been planned any better, and wasn't even planned, which makes it all so much better that he might have managed to go through and just grab it. It's like, oh hey, yeah, I got it, yay! Oh shit, I'm ranked 666 in a game called Diablo. That is something special.
That's the devil.
Yeah, you get that reference. Okay, good. Yeah, glad we're on the same level there. Oh, but yeah.
Well done, sir.
Yep. And then I also wanted to go through and take a minute because apparently this came up in the past week in our raid call for people that don't know. The seasonal journeys actually, they're not just random names that are gone through and thrown out there. The Slayer, Champion, Destroyer, Conqueror, and Guardian, actually they are referencing something. And for those that don't know, those are titles from Lord of Destruction that you achieved when you completed the different difficulties. The um, Slayer and Champion you got from playing a softcore character, which you had to complete normal and nightmare difficulties to get. The Destroyer, Conqueror, and Guardian are from hardcore in Lord of Destruction for the normal, nightmare, and hell difficulty, which is one of those ones which is nice. They kind of threw in all the way at the end there that in order to complete the Guardian season journey, you did actually have to level a hardcore character to 70 in order to complete that. It was nice little touch in
interesting.
there.
I like that they did that.
Yeah, so there.
I never even thought about that until you guys brought it up in raid call.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Well, now they just actually have to find some way of actually giving us titles in chat or clam chat or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go.
What else we got? Lala, you want to talk about your next email?
I thought you weren't gonna do this. You told me that would be weird to do. Apparently this has been in the game for a while, according to some of the people, but I hadn't seen it before.
I just noticed it the other day.
If you're full up, or if you throw it on the ground, but if you're full up, the heraldic cash gets thrown on the ground, and it looks like a pile of gold.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like the symbol over it, the pile, it's just gold, but it says it's heraldic cash.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
And this is like the bonus cache, right? Not the actual one?
No, that's the actual one. The bonus one is the one I'm not hovering over. It was behind Terrio, and I didn't feel like throwing it back on the ground to see. But it appeared to be the regular one that was the one that looks like gold.
Yeah, so if you're just running through and someone completes the bounty while you're out in the field and your bags are full, you're looking for a pile of gold. and something, so to try and pick that up a little bit better. Yeah. Would you like to take the next one, good sir?
Yes, this is from our friend Fouch. He is in chat tonight. He said, quick question regarding power pylons and snapshotting. And so he kind of used the Demon Hunter's Century skill as an example. But it basically is saying when you have a specific skill from a legendary gem, for example, the Gogok of Swiftness.
Goku?
Goku of Swiftness? Okay.
Some
No.
raid call jokes leaking into the show here. The Goku of Swiftness.
So when that stacks up, the turret will fire quicker, but only if you plant the sentry when it is when the Gogok gem is active. And so he says, correct me if I'm wrong, but this turret will then stay at that increased attack speed until the turret disappears. With that stated, does the snapshotting technique apply to power pylons and the turrets that I place? So will any turrets that I have placed while the power pylon is active still have that increased power?
I think that I thought that they had changed like the turrets, the way their snapshot mechanic works a while ago, and that they actually will reacquire the snapshot on the use of certain skills. So like if you go through and did a certain type of attack, they would reacquire your new attack speed. So that way you couldn't do things like that. And that it would actually go through and take into account that your stats are changing.
Then he also says that he wanted to ask something lore related, but until he's confident that I will not answer the lore questions, he will not, and he won't ask until.
I want to read that one verbatim. I wanted to ask something lore related, but until I am confident that Lieutenant Lunatic will not answer them, I cannot. Then a pause for the sake of for the sake of not only my own sanity, but for that of all of mankind. I cannot ask. So I don't think that he likes the Adventures of High Seraph Tyrael. But
he does not, and he likes to remind me of that often, that he doesn't like my lore. But then he always gives me a smiley face after he says those things, and so I know that means he's just joking. That means he likes it, and so the result is going to be you're never going to be able to ask the question then, because I'm never not going to answer it. Fouch, specifically, Fouch, if you ever ask a lore question, I will be the one to answer it from now on.
But I want to hear his question.
Yeah, ask it, Fouch. See what happens.
Couldn't you just lie to him? Couldn't you just lie to him and get the question and then answer it? Now I'm never going to get it. Damn.
And then he ends with saying he does have raid call, and he always listens to us when we play with Leviathan, because Leviathan's streaming, and we're always talking on raid call through his stream. But he's asking if it's okay if he stops in to the specific section that we are in raid call and say hey once in a while, and I would answer that to everybody and say absolutely, yes, absolutely, 100%. There's different sections for people if it gets like too crowded in one area that just a few people want to go to another area to like do like some serious rifting or something like that, then absolutely. But you're always welcome in any of the channels. Like everybody's always.
It's an open chat channel, and we tell you the chat channel at the end of every episode for a reason, because we want you guys to come and hang out. Though, to let you all know that the US servers hosting Raid Call are going to be shutting down on October 1st.
Yes.
We will be grabbing a TeamSpeak server to host the Blizz Pro clan, in addition to like the Westmarch Workshop. I can say the name of my own show, I promise. We will have more information for you hopefully by next episode.
Yep. But yeah, open invite to anybody, and people have been taking that invite up because like tonight, right before the show, there were like I don't know, man, there's like over 10 people in there. Like there's like 10 or 15 people in the chat. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It got
Come,
crazy.
go through, hang out. I know we have. I was messaged. I think we have. There was a player, Rigoric, that sent in an email last week, and then just decided, was whispered me in game as like, hey, what's raid call? And hopped in. We had a good time. Went through, chatted, everything. So it's like, yeah, by all means,
Heck yeah.
come
And
join in.
and yeah, like we said last week, say something like say hi or something like that because a lot of times we don't have the window up and we don't necessarily see who's in the lobby. And as well, if you can't remember if you're listening to this audio or something like that, if you can't remember the raid call number 644-6420, we have it posted in the clan, the Blitzpro clan, as a sticky, and then we also have it as a sticky in the Westmarch Workshop community. So join one of those, and yeah.
It's been very active, like not just right before the show, but well, since the season started.
Yeah, we've had a bunch
exciting.
of people definitely want to give some like shout outs to, like, 3 Days, Dead Advocate, and some others that are always there in the channel, willing to help out or just hop in a game, help people grind. So it's just something to come and chat. Even if you don't play hardcore and can't come and hop into a game with us, by all means, just come and talk. I like talking,
Yes.
especially about Diablo or movies or Goku's swiftness.
Goku's.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Love you, Dead.
You want to take the last one?
Okay. You want me to take the last one?
I do.
Okay, I can take the last one. So this one comes in from Ash Kickers. Just wanted to let us know that they're going through and they're enjoying the new patch as of late. Was rolling a new Demon Hunter for the start of the season. Has been playing more multiplayer this time around, and kind of what we were noting earlier, that the amount of experience is just crazy, especially when compared to having played predominantly single player before. They're going with the Unhallowed Essence build with multi-shot, and they also sent in an image of an ancient Yang's recurve that they had found, and they just wanted to get a Happy Meal to make it work, but the closest McDonald's is 30 minutes away.
I didn't read that part.
Yeah, what do you think that they should re-roll once they get a Happy Meal? But apparently they had some issues, and it was like one of those ones where it's like we were back in 2002, and they had to. The only way that they could attach the image for whatever reason is inside of a Word document. And Ash Kickers wanted to apologize for having to do such. And when we get Ash Kickers, when we get to your item in the items of the week, we'll go through and address that question. And they were also in chat earlier, and just wanted to say that since they sent in that email, they have found a Happy Meal.
Nice.
And finally took that 30-minute drive out and hit the drive-through and got their Happy Meal for the Yang's recurve.
Nice.
So there you go. That was some lengthy emails.
That's a lot of emails.
Yeah, and it's gonna get a little bit even longer here because we got some lengthy items.
Items of the week. Yay!
Yeah, and so you wanna get right into it?
Let's do it.
All right. Lala, are you ready?
I'm ready. I have no idea what
the
items are, so I'll be delayed.
Yes, they will. Unfortunately, I will talk for a little bit and give you some time to catch up because the only way that you'll be able to view them is in the Twitch channel.
Yep.
So, without further ado, what we were just talking about. Imagine that. I planned it.
How did you do that?
I did it. So this is Ash Kicker's Yang's recurve, the ancient Yang's recurve that they went and sent in. Of course, beautiful, beautiful item here. Came with 3,184 DPS, rolled with 9% damage, 878 dexterity, 890 vitality, rolled with a 43% resource cost reduction, 9 max discipline, and of course the legendary property of multi-shot attacks 50% faster. And Ash Kickers wanted to know what specifically should they re-roll using their Happy Meal. And it's that one is one of those, you could re-roll the base damage of the bow in order to get the most out of the actual DPS of the weapon, but I don't know how effective that would be compared to re-rolling the maximum discipline to 12, because every point of discipline with the set bonus is an extra 15%
Yeah.
stacking damage bonus. I couldn't find a calculator to really figure that one out, whether the base damage on the bow versus increasing the maximum discipline, how that would take you one way or the other. But you really couldn't go wrong one way or the other with that particular item, whether you wanted to like reroll the base damage or the max discipline.
Yeah, because it really depends on like how your damage is at that point, right? Or like if you're struggling with, if you don't have any other items that are helping you out with discipline or something like that, then
Yeah, I mean, I guess overall, if you have like really good gear and you have a lot of dexterity, which is already going to be increasing your damage by an obscene amount,
probably
that extra
discipline.
little 45% damage, since that one kind of stacks additively with other bonuses, it would probably be best to go with the base damage on the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And then Leviathan in chat is also going through and saying base damage would probably be your best bet. Well, and so moving on, our next item of the week. This week's hamstergram, coming in from, of course, no one else but our wonderful Mad Hamster. Sent in this beautiful, beautiful monk Hellfire amulet that came with 626 dexterity. Is re-rolled for critical hit damage increased by 93%, critical hit chance increased by 10%, 152 lightning resistance, and has gained the Beacon of Yatar passive, and also going through and showing off the beautiful socket with a level 35 Bane of the Trapped.
Well done.
Well,
Can I have it?
no, not for you.
No.
This next one, actually, I really like. I'm finally, this is a Shard of Hate that was sent in by um, Majnoon, I believe is how you pronounce that. Please tell me I pronounced that correctly.
I don't ever look at the actual email, the item emails.
God.
Wait.
Thanks.
It's
But well,
oh man, I don't know.
while he is going through and attempting to find that one, this is a Shard of Hate that came in.
Majnoon, yeah,
Yep.
that's it. Got it.
It's an ancient Shard of Hate with 2,764 DPS, rolled with 8% increased damage, 915 intellect, 984 vitality, a secondary property of 2.3% chance to knock back on hit, and the legendary property where your elemental skills have a chance to trigger a powerful elemental attack that deals 214% weapon damage. Very, very beautiful. I just love the Shard of Hate so much.
I do too.
Because it's the community item that we created back at the beginning as we led into Reaper of Souls, when they started doing the press roll for that, when we got to everyone got to chime in and create the legendary property and ability. And I'm finally playing a class that can actually have one drop. I haven't come across it yet, but thankfully with playing in a party, I've got the transmog. Yay!
Some people are cubing it, I
Yeah,
believe.
so I can. Yeah, there are some builds
I think
where that is.
wizards cube it sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to go through and get that proc going off.
Yeah, because I think that Nerd were just talking about that last night in raid call.
Our next item was sent in from this Leviathan guy, whoever that is.
Who's that?
Who's that? And of course, kind of, he's definitely not humble bragging when he goes through and says that Wyatt demanded that I show this all to you. So this is his Hellfire Amulet. 739 strength. Critical hit damage increased by 94%. Rerolled for 10% critical hit chance. 3.2% chance to blind on hit. And gains the Nerves of Steel passive with the socket in his level 46 Bane of the Stricken, which I think is now like level 60-ish, something like that. It's up there. It is his gems are definitely up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well
he
done,
has the
sir.
seasonal journey for 3 level 60 gems, so I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's one of them.
Yep. Our next item comes in from Zach. This is, kind of our continuing presence of Crashing Rains. This one's an ancient Crashing Rain. We don't see too many of them. With 550 dexterity, 608 vitality, 119 resistance to all elements, and has rerolled for 15% life, 7,000 life after each kill, and the legendary property Rain of Vengeance has a chance to summon a crashing beast that deals 3,965 weapon damage. Still waiting for that perfect 4,000.
Yep.
I think that
They
is,
got that challenge last week.
yeah, that's the only thing that can win.
Yep.
I thought that was an Ashbringer last week.
Oh yeah, that was an Ashbringer for the
Was it?
5,999.
Oh. Well, I want to see a perfect Crashing Rain too.
Yeah. And this next one is the item that we mentioned earlier from Andrewus. That is the Suwong Diviner in Ancient Staff that clocks in at 4,336 DPS. Has rerolled the base damage in order to get it up that high. Came with 9% damage already. 1,464 intellect, 1,262 vitality, and increases acid cloud damage by 84%. The secondary property of 17,000 life after each kill, and the legendary bonus of Acid Cloud gains the effect of Lob Blob Bomb whenever you have it equipped. And of course, the Happy Meal for a socket.
Oh yeah.
That,
Gotta eat
that's,
the
another,
Happy Meal.
that's another one of those Death's Breaths, Lob Blob Bomb.
Death's Breaths.
Death's Breaths.
Death's Breaths.
We wouldn't. And speaking of the corrupted Ashbringer, here we go from David sent us in a collection of items here with this lovely corrupted Ashbringer. It's not ancient, but it did roll 3,368 DPS, 951 strength, 1,087 vitality, and reduces the cooldown of all skills by 6%. It has the 13% damage to undead, 13,000 life after each kill, and the legendary property that after killing enemies and raising a certain number of skeletons, that it gains 5,089 bonus damage as holy while it's transformed.
We've already talked about these today, but I just like this
love it.
item.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Ashbringer, one of those great little lore items. Even though it's from a different game, but it's still don't care. I like
Still
it.
awesome.
And
Same
it makes me
company.
it kind of makes me want to roll a Ret Paladin in Legion just so that way I can equip one in World of Warcraft.
Right.
Because they won't let me have a Frostborn on my Death Knight. Thank you. Never mind.
You don't sound bitter.
I am not bitter at all. Anyways, he also sent in this Leoric Signet, 632 strength, increases critical hit damage by 48%, critical hit chance by 4.5%, 183 lightning resist, increases the bonus experience by a perfect 30%, and the socket showing off his level 31 Bane of the Trapped.
Well done.
Yeah. Our next set of items is coming in from Blue Right. His first one here is a Restraint. That's clocking in at 476 strength, rerolled for 45% critical hit damage, increases critical hit chance by 6%, 4,000 life after each kill, increases health globes and potions by 24,000, and the socket with his wonderfully leveled rank 9 Bane of the Trapped.
Nice. It's good to get that crit hit chance, crit hit damage, and strength.
Mm-hmm. Though, that's actually something I think that we forgot. Did we want to touch on? We forgot to mention Blue Right's. We can come back to that after our items.
Okay.
Yeah, the Blue Right's seasonal journey, giving us an update there with his adventures in hardcore. Um, Next one is Ancient Denial that he had found, which has 19% chance to block, 942 strength, 992 vitality, increases critical hit chance by 9.5%, damage against elites by 6%, 2.2% chance to stun, and each enemy hit by your sweep attack increases the damage of your next sweep attack by 36%, stacking up to 5 times. Near perfect, 40% is the perfect. That is the denial, which is used for the roll-ins when you're using the sweep attack version of the build, which is one of the more popular ones for AoE clear. Very nice. And this is one that out of the items, all these nice beautiful items that he sent in to us, this is the only one that remains, unfortunately, due to some tragic instances.
Oh man. Oh yeah, that's right.
Next one sent in an Ancient Belt of the Trove. 640 strength, 625 vitality, 118 resistance to all elements, and is rerolled for 15% life. Got the beautiful secondary property of reduces damage from melee attacks by 7%, and the legendary property rolling perfect that every 6 seconds you call down a bombardment on a random nearby enemy. This is something that I was using at the beginning of the season as well because it was just like free damage. I didn't have anything else for my belt slot that would even compare to what this does.
And this one's got pretty good rolls too, so
yeah, across the board, a great item to get you through until you find maybe until you start pushing higher and need to switch over to like a string of ears, or if you don't really need the survivability, a witching hour just to push your actual build a little bit forward a little. Next is his weapon, an Ancient Sunkeeper, which rounds out at 2,704 DPS. Came with 7% damage, 991 strength, increases damage against elites by 30%, secondary bonuses of 10,000 life after each kill, and 77% extra gold from monsters. It's not added a Happy Meal nor rerolled anything on that one yet. And yeah, that was the last of the items that he went through and sent in to us. We'll get back. Sorry that we skipped that one. We had it in a different folder. Did not forget about you, Blue Right. Don't worry. We'll get back to you. Next, we have from Cynic. We have this Enos Hold Ancient Set Gloves that rolled 898 Dexterity, 468 Armor, re-rolled for critical hit damage of 49%, critical hit chance of 9.5%, secondary properties of 176 Fire Resist, and increases gold and health globe pickup ranges by 1 yard.
Man, this thing is pretty.
I think there's a build with Shenlongs for speed farming with Enos. There's actually quite a few builds with Shenlongs for different setups.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely working in that build. It's very nice.
And that was our collection of items for the week.
That's a lot of items.
Yeah, quite a bit there. And Blue Right also wanted to go through and email in that unfortunately did not intend to skip, but it ended up happening anyways. His continuing journeys through his first season in hardcore, how he's collected 3 Happy Meals. He's gone through 2 of them. He was going and he got himself up to Torment 7, was pushing regular rifts, was at Paragon 212, and ran into some technical difficulties while he was in a greater rift, and then everything stopped moving. It was like, what could it be? But long story short, he had gotten disconnected while he sat there and was trying to figure out what was going on. And, it was one of those ones you log back in, and your character is now a permanent addition to the Hall of Heroes.
No.
Yep.
Happened to him a few times, it sounded like, didn't it?
Yes, he is on Crusader. I think it was Crusader's number
5
right now.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But he went through, created. After this death, he went through. It was actually interesting that he's arrived at the hardcore capital, the city of DC.
Oh, hey,
Yep. But
some shit
he
there.
went through, leveled up another one, power leveled her, and then with the help of backup gear that he had, like a seeker light set, kind of sitting in the wings, got back on track. Doing Torment 6 was using the Sunkeeper, Bane of the Powerful, and a Furnace Synchronized Cube. Managed a whopping 95% increased bonus damage against elites. But then, as he put it, then the Moon Requiem began. And shortly after 3 o'clock in the morning, the moon was shining through the window of a hardcore player called Blue Right. Looking at the clock, he came to the conclusion to just do one more greater rift before calling it a day. So he opened one and started slaying demons. Unfortunately, he forgot that around this time, a Reaper goes through the night, timing him out of BattleNet.
No.
Said Reaper didn't fail this time, and that with his demonic work, Blue Right was thinking, oh no, not again. The worst part being that he was surrounded by demons at that particular instant, and he was logging on again, but found that, yet again, his Crusader had been slain by said Reaper.
Oh, man.
And so he ended up losing that wonderful Sunkeeper, and that he did say that out of all the items that he sent in, the only one that yet remains is his Denial, which is the first step on the road to recovery.
Admitting
Yes.
denial. What?
Or no, is that the first stage? That's the first stage, not the first step. It's the first stage
Is denial.
of recovery.
Something
is
like
denial.
that.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Whatever.
It sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
So I mean, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, sorry of hearing about your adventures. It's making me sad there,
Yeah,
Blue.
keep us updated, Blue. Right?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
we're gonna get you in the clan soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I believe he's next on the list. We got quite a few emails this week on people wanting to join. Unfortunately, we are like capped at 150.
And like sitting on like 20 requests thereabouts.
Yeah, but the emails will take precedence over just the invites.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we always appreciate the emails.
Yeah. So
just introducing yourself and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, with that, it kind of begins to bring the show to a conclusion. Unless there's anything that the two of you have to chime in, any last things that you want to touch on, any last hurrahs, shout-outs, accomplishments.
I think so.
You didn't want to go back to the that thing?
What's that?
The last bullet on the news.
We kind of ran out of time. We're gonna.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did also talk quite a bit about your wonderful support monk there.
Yeah.
Yes.
You did a lot
at some point
last
we
week
want
as well, but you mentioned it before the show, so
Yeah.
sure.
At some point we want to cover Lala's support monk because it's doing some work.
Yeah, we're already into like 2.5 hour range here.
I forgot that it starts at 8 my time. I was thinking it started at 9:30.
Yeah.
Yep. So
time differences, they're hard.
Yeah, there you go.
They're hard.
Yeah. So with that, also do want to give some shout outs to Rigoric and Major Nub, who went through and gave us some 5-star reviews on iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for that. It really does go through, help out, particularly Rigoric, who mentioned earlier in the stream that he is relatively new to the game. Only has had it for I want to say it was less than a month that he's been playing. And just kind of stumbled along the podcast because he really enjoyed it and he wanted to learn more about the game. So he went through and he just hopped on, his podcast feed to go and try and find one. And he tried one above us, of course, Scott Johnson and the Diablo show, which has not been updated for quite a few months, but it's Scott Johnson. He has amazing publicity. Very huge name podcaster, especially kind of within like he does a lot of other things for some other Blizzard games. but just a huge podcaster. So he's kind of up there. But then he found us, and so it's one of those just going in, giving us those little reviews on iTunes and Stitcher, or just giving us a thumbs up or
Yeah.
share on YouTube helps increase and expand our little community here. And
Yep. Helps us reach out to people that are new to the game like you. And
mhm.
yeah, so if you guys hear us and do like us, we would love to get your 5-star review
Oh yeah.
because it helps a lot.
Yeah, so it definitely does. And of course, if you want to kind of participate, be a part of the show, like we mentioned, we love hearing from our fans. So go ahead and send us an email at the Westmarch Workshop, or just at what? Sorry, send us an email at westmarchworkshop@blizzpro.com, not the Westmarch Workshop. If you send it to there, you will get a mailer demon. That's a little bit, I guess, Diablo experience there. You have a demon in your email when you try to email us. But you can also follow us on Twitter at, now this one has the in it, at the WM Workshop on Twitter. You can also find our live stream, of course, every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on BlizzPro, twitch.tv. I'm all sorts of discombobulated.
It's all right.
Twitch.tv/BlizzPro at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. You can also find out more about what we do, who we are, at diablo.blizzpro.com. And you can also go and find out, go and experience some of the other shows that we do here on the Twitch channel and on our YouTube page. You have Sunday nights, you have the Well Met, a Hearthstone podcast. Monday nights is Twizcast, a basically hour and a half of everything that you need for your Blizzard fixations. It covers the entire spectrum of all the Blizzard games and more, in a nice compact, contrite episode. You can also find us in game at the BlizzPro clan. But like we mentioned earlier, it's been full up on invites, so it might be a while before we can get you into the clan on that one. And we do take precedence towards those people that email us um, to go through and get you in, as opposed to the people that just send in an invite without letting us know like who they are or why they want to join. But if you are waiting in the wings while we have time to get you into the clan, or just want to chat without leaving your current clan, you can find us at the Westmarch Workshop community. Just do a little search there in the social menu. We have our raid call channel that is, oh god, that is going away October 1st as Raid Call shuts down in the US, but until then, you can find us at 644-6420. Come chat and hang out. We'll have more details to come on what voice chat service. It's going to be TeamSpeak, and we will give you the information on that at hopefully by next episode. And then you can also follow us individually. You can find me at Neinball Gamer, my lovely co-host here at LT Lunatic 22, and Lala. Why don't you tell us where we can find you?
It's at Rapram, Rappram.
And
Boom.
do you stream YouTube, anything along those lines?
I streamed once. I have, I think, 3 videos on YouTube.
There you go.
Nice.
Nothing exciting.
It's more than I got.
Mhm. Yeah.
Cool.
So yes, that's where you can go through. And again, we really appreciate all the feedback that you might have. So please send us in your items, send us in your comments at the Westmarch Workshop at blizzpro.com, or send us a tweet at the WM Workshop on Twitter.
Yep.
And
See ya.
with that, bye everybody.